Hey, how are you? My name is Jeremy. I'm going to be reading from this book, Leadership Theory and Practice by Northouse. I'm in Chapter 8, page 169. It says Chapter 8 is Transformational Leadership. This is page 169. Transformational Leadership Factors. Transformational leadership is concerned with improving the performance of followers and developing followers to their full potential. People who exhibit transformational leadership often have a strong set of internal values and ideals, and they are effective at motivating followers to act in ways that support the greater good rather than their own self-interest. Individuals' intentions to lead in a transformational manner appear related to effective transformational leadership behaviors. Idealized influence is factor one is charisma and or idealized influence. It is the emotional component of leadership. Idealized influence describes leaders who act as strong role models for followers. Followers identify with these leaders and want very much to emulate them. These leaders usually have very high standards of moral and ethical conduct and can be counted on to do the right thing. They are deeply respected by followers who usually place a great deal of trust in them. They provide followers with a vision and a sense of mission. The idealized influence factor is measured on two components: an attributional component that refers to the attributions of leaders made by followers and based on perceptions they have of their leaders, and a behavioral component that refers to followers' observations of leader behavior. In essence, the charisma factor describes people who are special and who make others want to follow the vision they put forward. A person whose leadership exemplifies the charisma factor is Nelson Mandela, the first non-white president of South Africa. Mandela is viewed as a leader with high moral standards and a vision for South Africa that resulted in a monumental change in how the people of South Africa would be governed. His charismatic qualities and the people's response to them transformed an entire nation. Inspirational motivation. Factor 2 is called inspiration or inspirational motivation. This factor is descriptive of leaders who communicate high expectations to followers, inspiring them through motivation to become committed to and a part of a shared vision in the organization. In practice, leaders use symbols and emotional appeals to focus group members' efforts to achieve more than they would in their own self-interest. Team spirit is enhanced by this type of leadership. An example of this factor would be a sales manager who motivates members of the sales force to excel in their work through encouraging words and pep talks that clearly communicate the integral role they play in the future growth of the company. Intellectual stimulation. Factor 3 is intellectual stimulation. It includes leadership that stimulates followers to be creative and innovative and to challenge their own beliefs and values as well as those of the leader and the organization. This type of leadership supports followers as they try new approaches and develop innovative ways of dealing with organizational issues. It encourages followers to think things out on their own and engage in careful problem solving. An example of this type of leadership is a plant manager who promotes workers' individual efforts to develop unique ways to solve problems that have caused slowdowns in production. Individualized consideration. Factor 4 of transformational leadership is called individualized consideration. This factor is representative of leaders who provide a supportive climate in which they listen carefully to the individual needs of followers. Leaders act as coaches and advisors while trying to assist followers in becoming fully actualized. These leaders may use delegation to help followers grow through personal challenges. An example of this type of leadership is a manager who spends time treating each employee in a caring and unique way. To some employees, the leader may give strong affiliations. To others, the leader may give specific directives with a high degree of structure. In essence, transformational leadership produces greater effects than transactional leaderships. Whereas transactional leadership results in expected outcomes, transformational leadership results in performance that goes well beyond what is expected. in a meta-analysis of 39 studies in the transformational literature. For example, Lo Kroick, in not saying his name in 96, found that people who exhibited transformational leadership were perceived to be more effective leaders with better work outcomes than those who exhibited only transactional leadership. These findings were true for higher and lower level leaders and for leaders in both public and private settings. Transformational leadership has an additive effect. It moves followers to accomplish more than what is usually expected of them. They become motivated to transcend their own self-interest for the good of the group or organization. In fact, transformational leaders are the most likely to have a positive impact on followers when followers identify with or find meaning in their work. In a study of 220 employees at a large public transport company in Germany, Rohward and Heinz in 2007 found that transformational leadership augmented the impact of transactional leadership on employees' performance and company profit. In addition, they found that transformational leadership and charismatic leadership were overlapping but unique constructs, and that both were different from transactional leadership. Similarly, Niemiec and Keller in 2007 examined the impact of transformational leadership on 447 employees from a large multinational firm who were going through a merger and being integrated into a new organization. They found that transformational leadership behaviors such as idealized influence, inspirational motivation, individualized consideration, and intellectual stimulation were positively related to the acquisition, acceptance, job satisfaction, and performance. They found that transformational leadership behaviors such as idealized influence, inspirational motivation, individualized consideration, and intellectual stimulation were positively related to acquisition, acceptance, job satisfaction, and performance. Yep, Tim's Baker, and not going to say his last name, in 2011, Xanthropulu in 2011 examined the relationship between transformational leadership and work engagement in 42 employees and their supervisors in 2 different organizations in the Netherlands. Findings revealed that employees became more engaged in their work with vigor and dedication and absorption when their supervisors were able to boost employees' optimism through a transformational leadership style. These findings underscore the important role played by personal characteristics, optimism, in the transformational leadership performance process. Similarly, Hamstra and Van Uurperen and Weiss and Sandberg in 2014 found that transformational leaders were more likely than transactional leaders to promote achievement of followers' mastery goals. This suggests that transformational leaders may be especially effective in environments where followers need to focus on learning, development, and mastering job-related tasks rather than a more competitive or performance-based work context. Transformational leaders can propel followers to even greater levels of success when they have a high-quality relationship based on trust, loyalty, and mutual respect. Not Brass in 2014. Cool, so we're going to leave it there. That was page 169, Transformational Leadership Factors, page 169 to 173. Cool. All right.